Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 10th edition of Cinema Effect. I don't know how we made it to 10 episodes. Is that some kind of anniversary? Because you know how there's like, what do they call it? Like when the Queen has been around for so long, isn't there like a diamond jubilee or some shit? Is 10
Milestone?
something?
Yeah, milestone.
What's yeah?
You get a letter from Joe
Sure.
Rogan or some shit.
No. Okay, well, there you go. What a milestone. 10 episodes, 10 straight weeks of this absolute garbage show. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by my fellow Hans Zimmer appreciator, Jaden.
G'day.
That was a good one this week. Nice. And John Cena, JC, Liam.
Hello.
I like how commenting on my first line has become a thing for the past like 3 episodes now.
Yeah. I'm grasping at straws. Just anything slightly different that occurs, I just need to then talk about it for the next 4 episodes afterwards in the intro. You know.
Yeah.
Oh God. So, hey, I mean, if you keep it up and you keep it normal, then I won't have to say it ever again.
No, I'll spice it up every week.
I'll be listening out
with that in mind. No.
Sure. Well, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single week. The show posts every Monday. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Please subscribe, rate us, and something I've never said before, but hey, I feel like it needs to be said. You know, there's this good old-fashioned thing called communication, and I feel like it's important, you know, tell your friends about the show, you know, tell your family members about the show, tell your doctors, okay, tell your teachers, your professors. I don't give a shit who you tell. Tell your friggin' person who serves you in the supermarket about the show. We greatly appreciate it. We want to grow the show. So thanks in advance for not doing that. And remember to submit your questions, reviews, and all that stuff for next week's film in the YouTube comments section. We'll read that stuff at the end of the show as we always do. And this week's specific question, I think it's a good one. Jane, you came up with this. It's good. Favorite film setting, and you specifically noted that it can be anything from just a general setting of a film, the entire thing where an entire movie takes place, or it can just be something as specific as just, you know, you like that one scene where that one scene is shot and all that good stuff and all the set design maybe for a certain scene. So anything, literally a location, a setting for a film in any regard at all. What's your favourite one and why? Let us know. I'm going to have to think about that one because that's a broad question, but I like it though. This week, we're doing a new film, as you said last week, Fitzy, rejoicing, we're doing a new film. And I mean, I would love to be doing new films more, but, you know, who knows when there'll be enough to even, you know, choose from and talk about. But we're doing Onward, which was one of the last, at least in the US, one of the last big films to hit theatres prior to the apocalypse. So let's get into the data dump. Onward opened in the US on the 6th of March 2020. It was directed by Dan Scanlon. It was written by Dan Scanlon, Jason Headley, nailed it, and Keith Boonen. Sorry. Actors: Tom Holland, Chris Pratt, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. It's Louis, right? It's not Lewis?
Louise, yeah, I think.
Louise. God damn it. Dude, all right. Yeah, that name is something. I don't really respect people that name their kids that because you don't know which way it's going to go, you know?
What, Lewis or Louise?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's too hard, okay? Octavia Spencer also stars in the film. The studios, of course, Disney and Pixar. It had a worldwide box office prior to it being pulled of $103 million. And we have no information on the budget. So was it successful? I mean, it's probably impossible to measure given it being put on Disney Plus so soon after its theatrical release. You know, how do you even measure success for this kind of movie and the circumstances? But who cares? It had a runtime of 1 hour and 42 minutes. And the synopsis is: two elven brothers embark on a quest to bring their father back for one day. I talked about Onward, when was it? Two weeks ago, I think, on the show. And I already mentioned how much I really liked the movie. But when did you guys watch the movie and how did you feel about it?
I finished it this morning and started it a week ago or so.
Did you really?
Yeah. and I liked it. It was good.
Cool.
Um,
That's good.
yeah, I just banged it out in one sitting like a regular person.
God, what a trooper, man! You managed to sit there for a whole 1 hour and 42 minutes.
I know, it's strange. Yeah, I feel like I might have had a similar level of enjoyment that Fitzy did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The way you said that you enjoyed it, I don't know, feels on par with how I enjoyed it.
The way he said he liked it, it just kind of
It resonated.
gave a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But who knows? Maybe his enjoyment is like a 4 and mine's like a 20. We don't know.
So for you guys then, just kind of generally, seemingly just liked it, thought it was enjoyable, did you kind of view it as more of just okay, that was like a fine, entertaining Pixar movie for almost 2 hours, great, move on to the next one, like kind of bundle it in with a lot of other Pixar films in that way? Or does it stand out to you in any regard? Is there anything that you find kind of special about it? Or is it just kind of that, just another Pixar movie?
Just another Pixar movie for me, personally. I mean, like, it was a good one at that, but, like, I don't know. It had a lot of strengths, but it just felt, in the end, a bit generic in terms of story. I mean, it felt predictable as hell from, like, the whole quest and the reuniting of the brothers and realizing, the special person was in front of him all along. I mean, it hits, it ticks all the boxes, and it is rather predictable, but, like, I'm not sure if that pulled my enjoyment too much, but, like, it was definitely something that I think maybe hampered my experience.
For me, like, I totally get what you're saying with the predictability, and this movie, especially from a kind of just a pure narrative perspective, doesn't do anything, too crazy or too out there. And I feel like that's something Pixar is often quite good at, is that their plots and their stories kind of evolve in interesting ways. And a lot of Pixar movies do have interesting twists and turns that you don't see coming. And this story isn't really that. But at the same time, I do think that despite it not having those kind of moments, that the fact that it's still so good and so enjoyable is kind of a testament to it, that even though it is so predictable, it kind of doesn't matter to me anyway. It doesn't really affect anything. And I think that's kind of just shows how much I like it and its quality, in my opinion. But yeah, how do you feel about that, Fitzy? What's your response to that?
Like, in some ways it feels kind of like just another generic Pixar, but it feels very fresh and kind of, I don't know, like, in some ways un-Pixar-y. Maybe that's just kind of like the human-like characters and stuff, but yeah, I don't know, it was somewhere between, like, a fully original film and just a good Pixar film, I think.
Well, I mean, the setting, I think at least, I think the setting of the film really does stand out. It is really kind of unique, for sure. And, like, having this fantasy world that is, I don't even know how to describe it, I guess this fantasy world that's modernized to kind of half resemble our world. But then obviously, we've got these different races and magic and all that shit that exists in it. And I love the way that was introduced as well. And the way it kind of also plays a part in some of the character development throughout, I think it's all pretty clever. And that's another thing that kind of puts it above standard Pixar as well. I guess for you guys then, what is, when we say, because I also do jump to comparing to what we've just classified as standard Pixar. What is a standard Pixar movie? What do you guys think? Like, what's a Pixar movie that is just exemplifies standard Pixar? Because I don't know. I feel like Pixar movies generally are all, for the most part, pretty unique and stand out in different ways. But I don't know. What's like do you guys have a generic Pixar movie or a group of them that we're kind of comparing to here?
I don't think it's so much as a generic Pixar as that it's a Pixar film with a generic plot, and that's what I mean, everything in it is rather original. This hybrid world, the characters, and what happens. But it's just that the way the events unfold and the events that do unfold, that's the generic part. Not so much. It's not so much on Pixar's behalf. It's more just the way the story was written.
I know you said you've liked the film and stuff, but, like, just as a summary, how do you feel about it as a whole, I guess?
as a whole, I just thought that it's a really compact and engaging story at the end of the day. And sure, like I don't disagree with the predictability elements, but I feel like nonetheless, despite it not doing anything particularly new or unique or surprising to the audience, it does everything super well. Um, there are, I think, all the scenes and all the plot beats that we get to, the character beats, they're all super interesting, kind of vary from one another. There's some pretty good humor injected in there. It's definitely not the funniest Pixar movie by any means, but nonetheless, like I think it's got definitely charming elements and characters. And I know, like, and also just the fact that this story just resonates with me so much. I mentioned kind of the brother dynamic a few weeks ago, and that was super special. I felt the way that was captured, and I don't know. I really love the characters. I love Ian, and what's Chris Pratt's name again? What's his name?
Barley.
I can't remember. Thank you. Yes. I really like those characters. They're clearly defined as being different, and the way they get along, and then obviously conflict in certain ways, and then the way that changes. But no, I don't know. I just found this movie super entertaining all the way through. I really liked the characters, and I really loved. I just thought the third act was absolutely phenomenal. The way, just everything in the film built to that third act, where all their decisions and everything they've kind of learnt and been through, and all their desires kind of built to that kind of choice at the end, I guess, and that kind of final battle. I thought was all really, really good storytelling, I guess. Let's get to. I'll jump into some trivia here because, kind of building off what I just said, to get to the heart of what the film's about. According to director Dan Scanlon, who lost his father at a very young age, the film's inspired by the question he's always asked: "Who was my father?" The story is set in a world with no humans, elves, trolls, sprites, and anything would be on the side of a van in the 70s. Anything that would be on the side of a van in the 70s exists in this world, said the director. In this film, we're going to tell the story of two teenage elf brothers whose father died when they were too young to remember him. But thanks to the little magic still left in the world, the boys embark on a quest. Okay, I feel like he's just reading a synopsis now, but anyway, that will allow them a chance to spend one last magical day with their father. Sorry, I didn't realize that was that long, but I guess the first half of that and seeing Ian's character development in particular as the protagonist, and how much he just wants to have some form of connection with his father. And then that is, I think, the core of the story that Dan's talking about, how his own experiences really shape that, I think. And he, Ian meets the dude who knew his father in the diner or whatever, and he's super interested to hear about him, and we see how he has that one tape of him, and he, those scenes I think are in the early parts of the film do a really good job of establishing Ian as a character. He's quite an insecure teenager. Seems like a pretty standard nice guy. Just wants what I think most people want. He wants to kind of get along with others and all that shit. That's all standard shit. But I don't know, it works for me. But it was that connection that he wanted with his father, and then hearing about his father from all these different sources and from his brother who did know him. And then his arc throughout the movie, the way it builds to the third act, and his decision to let Barley say goodbye to his dad, and he never gets the chance to say hi to him. But I just thought all that was super well done. And the moment that you were talking about, Jane, with the predictability element of you see the end kind of coming a bit, but the moment when he's kind of because he writes down the checklist of what he wants to get from the journey, and when he realizes that he'd gotten everything he wanted, and it was from his brother, not his dad. And I was just like, yo, how is this so... it's so obvious on some level. It's oh, okay, yeah, we get it. It's the thing where you get what you were expecting and not the way you expected it. But it's still, it still hit me so hard. I was like, holy shit, those goddamn flashback shots, and I loved all that stuff.
Yeah, it was still emotional. I still, it still was impactful, but predictable at the same time.
Yeah, and then I guess the angle I'm coming at it from is just I think that's a testament to it. The fact that they can make something so, something that everyone can see coming so emotional, yet
Yeah, but if you put
despite
any
that.
sub story, on camera, and like anything like about lost his father, lost his brother, lost his sister, lost his mother, it's always going to be impactful no matter what happens. I mean, obviously there's exceptions to that rule, but
Yeah.
it's a story as old as time that's always going to get it's always going to tug your heartstrings, and so
I guess so.
that's why it's impactful, but I don't think it's impactful for any reason that I don't think it's an example. I don't think it's on the film's behalf. I just think it's because it's that type of story that everyone can latch onto.
I guess so. But I think, nonetheless, though, I think the way the story develops really on this quest that is pretty straightforward, but the moments in it that build to that third act reveal, I think is what really makes it stand out apart from just being, oh, they lost their dad, let's feel sorry for them, because I'll jump into a random one that I really like, a random scene. There's a lot like it, but when they have to cross the bridge and Ian the whole time has been trying to learn to use the magical staff and shit, and he does it, and the rope runs out and everything, and he's walking along over the bridge, and he trusts in himself. But that's just a really good scene that builds really good tension. Everything going on there, I just really like. It's got obviously got that good bit of humor in it too, and again testing the character's confidence. And then when we see him, I guess I don't know, a little bit later in the third act, and we see him using all those lessons, using all the magical spells and shit to fight the concrete dragon, which, by the way, I was all about the concrete dragon. But, yeah, I don't know, just the way that the movie built to that final conflict I thought was really cool. And, you felt it the entire time, and you felt like then getting to that final fight, you felt like you earned that,
But there was never a sense of tension. I mean, it's a Pixar film. You always know what's going to happen. I mean, obviously they're not going to plunge a character into the void. I mean, I disagree with the tension part.
I mean, sure, I'm not. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't expecting him to just die on the spot. I disagree though. I do think the scene's well directed and edited and put together to where it does really kind of hold on to when he's taking those last few steps, and he don't turn around, don't look. And I think that's kind of just more investment into the characters. At least for me, it was anyway. Investment in the characters as opposed to just obviously, yeah, taking a step back, you're like, oh, yeah, obviously nothing's going to die. I wasn't necessarily afraid for him to die, but
yeah, it's just such a play by the book scene, though. I mean, you can put it in a jungle setting where characters are crossing a rope bridge, and then the rope bridge, is about to snap, and don't just hurry up, get over it. It's, it's generic shit, isn't it? I mean, fair enough, it was fine in the context of the movie, but it just felt like everything was generic, and it just took away a lot from the film.
I don't agree. You're absolutely right about that on paper that does seem like a jungle bridge scene. I love how you mentioned it being in a jungle, because that's actually exactly what the archetypal version of that scene would be, wouldn't it? That rickety bridge in the jungle. But I do think the magic element adds something to it, where this character has been trying to learn these spells, and he's the one that's making this possible. It's not like they get there and the bridge is already there. And sure, obviously it's hugely similar, but it is a twist on that typical scene anyway. The fact that there is literally no way to cross, and his skills and his belief is what gets him across until, and then obviously you're right, when he's walking across, the tension is built in the same way a typical jungle scene would be. But yeah, I don't know, I think it's kind of I think this movie has cool twists on those kind of typical scenes. Did you guys have a particular standout scene at all?
I like the when they're under the cave and stuff. When they're in the water. And
when they make what is it? The bloody Cheeto or something huge. Is that what you mean? Or
yeah, and then the brother tells him about the memory of the dad. That was good.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah. I liked everything kind of following that as well. Where I think it's 5-10 minutes after that, when they're in that final cave section, building up to the reveal that they just climb out and they're just at the high school again. But all that shit there, where it's the Indiana Jones traps and booby traps and all that shit, and there's the water element involved too. Again, I think that cool twists on traditional scenes where they have to the whole time, and this is the case for literally the entire movie, but having the dad who's only the pants the entire time, having to guide him through as well, adds another layer of kind of interesting dynamic to the action there, I think, anyway. And obviously the movie's, I think goes without saying, but the movie's beautiful. It's gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
And really well animated. So those elements already kind of make that traditional Indiana Jones shit kind of entertaining for me anyway. But then I feel like the Pan's character as a whole is interesting. I don't think all the humor works with the dad as a pair of pants, which listening to this without a context is kind of would be weird. I guess there's they try to bring back their dad from the dead for a day, and they manage to get it halfway at the start of the movie. So literally for the entire movie, their dad is just a walking pair of pants, who's like the third central character of the movie. So I thought that was another cool kind of element that they introduced. It's kind of different, a cool challenge, I think, for the studio, to be able to make this character who's not a character.
Yeah. Make it have personality with just his pants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was never like bored by the movie or anything. It was like entertaining throughout. So it was paced well, I guess. There was no slow parts or
Yeah.
I wasn't bored by it, but like so many moments had me rolling my eyes, just like when it would hit those beats that oh look, it's the trope that look, innocent pixies are on the motorcycles and they're part of a gang. Oh look, Ian's helping everyone realize their true potential. Look, the horse is running again. Like it's just like, oh my god, it's just such generic shit. Like, ultimately I still like the movie, but like, it was just every time it hit moments like that, I was kind of just like, move on.
I guess, but I don't know. I liked all that shit because I totally get what you're saying, but that's not like the central plot or the central kind of arc or narrative of the film. Like I feel like, and I agree with you, it does happen quite a fair bit. So I get what you mean. They do cut to it, but at least when it does happen, it happens with the pixies. It happens with the centaur dude who's like
happened with the manticore.
That's right. It does happen with the manticore. Yeah, that's right.
Did you like that scene at her tavern? Like, I didn't enjoy that.
Yes.
You did?
I did.
I didn't.
Yes. Dude, the humor with the humor with the stupid mascot who like giggles, dude, that's so my humor. It's so stupid. I'm like so about that.
I thought it was cool how, you had this manticore creature that was trying to run a tavern. It's funny.
I mean, like, yeah, like it's a necessary part of the plot, 'cause that's where they get the the clue and whatever, and like that's where the manticore is introduced. But like, I don't know. I think maybe because the style of humor wasn't for me, and maybe there was just something about the scene that I just couldn't enjoy.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I don't expect everyone to laugh at that mascot humor. I thought that mascot dude was funny, it cracked me up. But I do think the scene, while serving the plot in that way and injecting a bit of humor, it's just another way in which the film kind of subverts the expectations of the fantastical setting and the combination with our modern reality, where they get there and the manticore is just like the manager of this restaurant. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, like it was cool how they had these centaur creatures and just different fantastical creatures integrated into society.
Yeah, definitely. But I was saying about your point about people realizing their full potential, Jade, and I feel like because it only like they cut back to these characters just a few times sprinkled throughout, I feel like it never became egregious to me anyway. You know what I mean? Like, because it wasn't the central arc of the movie, I guess.
Well, you've got the manticore, you've got the mum, you've got Ian, you've got the pixies, you've got the centaur, and a host of other characters throughout. I mean, I feel like it's often enough that it does need to be pointed out.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, no, you actually highlighted more than I thought. Yeah, that's true. I know. I still found it kind of heartwarming though when the centaur dude runs at the end and he whips out his hair. I'm like, hell yeah, man, whip out that hair.
It's just a shitty version of fire ends.
Of what?
Is that what the centaur from Harry Potter's called? Fire ends?
Oh shit, dude, I've got no idea. Is it?
Oh, let me search it up. Yeah, it is. It is called fire ends, or maybe it's fit ends. I don't know.
Dude, whoever that dude was, he didn't have as good hair as the cop in this movie, I'll tell you.
Some of this fan art, he's got pretty fantastic hair.
Oh my god. Can you send that to me afterwards? No, don't.
God, no.
No, definitely not.
I never want to look at this again. God, centaur fan art.
But I do like how the film doesn't have an antagonist, and
the gelatinous cube.
You're right. Yeah, that that jelly is an antagonist.
Yeah.
But no, I like how the conflict of the film really only comes from the personal elements and the emotions, but then also from still, yeah, I guess the personal connections with the characters. Where this cop dude who's also like the mum's partner, how he, for all intents and purposes, is the one opposing the main characters in the film. But he's a cool bloke as well, So I think that's kind of cool, I guess, that it doesn't follow that traditional structure.
I mean, he is a traditional character. Is he not? I mean, like, the whole look, mum's got a new step boyfriend, or mum's got a new boyfriend that the kids don't like, but then it turns out he's all right, type of thing, and look.
No, that's true.
He's pestering us in the first half, but then at the end we're kind of friends with him. That's.
I thought he was a good bloke the whole time. I don't think he really turned good.
I mean, he didn't turn good, but he was there chasing them, and he was kind of an annoyance to them.
No, that's true. That's true. I guess I just meant that the fact that he's not.
Yeah.
Because he technically is the antagonist, but he doesn't really feel like one. I guess is all I meant. How do you guys feel about the performances in the movie? Because going in, okay, you got Tom Holland, you got Chris Pratt. Okay, you get these for these animated features, you get these celebrity actors to do their voices, and you just kind of expect them to do their thing, to play their regular role. I thought they were really good, though. I thought, surprisingly, I actually thought Tom Holland was really good in the movie, and he gave me something I wasn't expecting. I was kind of expecting just to get, Tom Holland American accent that we're used to, but I think he gave a bit more depth than that.
Yeah. I forgot it was Tom Holland. That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Does it not feel kind of like Spider-Man, Teenage kids, gets powers, conflict out the film. He's not confident in his powers, so he loses them at some points, but then he comes to realize it. He's searching for a dead person, that connection with them, It kind of felt like a Spider-Man story, to be honest.
Oh, I guess so. I mean, that's a pretty traditional hero arc, so I guess so, yeah.
But I think because it was Tom Holland as well, that's all I could think about. I was like, this is just Spider-Man. It's kind of like if you took Tom Holland and put him into Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man story. That's kind of what it felt like.
Would you have loved that, or don't leave Andrew Garfield alone?
Oh yeah, leave it. And everything about those films is great.
We'll get them one day, and you'll get to say your piece on that.
Yeah.
Oh god, but Chris Pratt as well. Like, he's super over the top, but I kind of liked it.
Yeah,
I'd rather that than
yeah,
definitely.
Because like I heard a lot of people wanting Jack Black for the role instead of Chris Pratt, but I feel like you wanting this kind of this character who is supposed to be like presented as like a bit out of touch or a screw up or whatever you want to call it. Like, I feel like Chris Pratt actually works better for that role. Like, Jack Black would just be too cool for the role,
I feel like Jack Black's too predictable for that role, isn't he?
Yeah, it does seem like, I think there's a reason everyone, or I don't know, those people apparently wanted him, because I feel like he fits it too well,
Yeah.
It's like, or he's traditionally seen to, I don't know. I don't really like that idea. It seems too on the nose, too obvious.
Yeah. No, I think Pratt did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. He was cool. I personally really like the title of the movie. Because I think this movie just gives me positive vibes, man. I think that's just that's a good way to sum it up for me, because I like the little mention early on in the movie that the van. Do you guys remember the van's name? Because I certainly don't.
The Guinevere.
Guinevere, thank you. You guys watched it more recently than me. I like Guinevere's kind of role in the story, and they make sure to point out earlier that the drive gear in the car, on the van rather, is O for Onward. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's like a cool touch. Let's see what happens with that. And then the way it comes back into play with Barley sacrificing his beloved van.
Yeah, that was like one of my favorite scenes.
It was one of mine too.
It was a nice parody, but it was also, it was emotional at the same time because of his connection to it. So
yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the music and the dramatic ways it's shot, it's great, Yeah,
it really was. And how the movie made it really clear how much that van meant to him, because didn't he say that, like, if he could talk to his dad, he'd just want to show him what he did with the van, So it's like, oh, shit, it means a lot to you, but he was willing to give it up. And that's like, again, traditional stuff, but it was really cool and well directed, like you said, Jaden. But then the fact that, you know, I like the shot of it, him kind of putting it into Onward and the van just going straight at the mountain or whatever to stop the cops from reaching them. I thought that was cool. It kind of all, for me, just came together to kind of symbolize that let's not get stuck on things in life. Let's not get too. I guess let's just keep moving forward. You know, onward. It's literally what it means. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a cool kind of heartwarming message to live in the moment and to just keep moving forward. You know, and to not get too attached to things and aspects of life and material objects and the like. You know, pretty broad message, but a cool one.
Yeah, it's definitely more unique than people are giving it credit for. And
Yeah.
at the same time, it's very, you know, as you said, it's very well delivered. It's like you got all these kind of traditional story ideas, but they kind of have this twist in them with the fantasy and the story. So I actually really did, yeah, like it as a whole. But it does it also does, you know, hit on those Pixar beats. But
I will say I do wish. I feel like some small parts of the movie where the movie didn't quite live up to like high kind of Pixar entertainment standards. Well, I didn't love the interactions with the mum and the manticore when they're kind of driving around and they stop at a pawn shop and, you know, threaten the dude, threaten the old lady who works there. Some of those interactions, like, they were fine. They weren't bad or anything, but they were like, I feel like these could be better, you know? The Cuban didn't quite land for me.
yeah, well, yeah, like was the mum supposed to have an arc in this movie, or was she just kind of a subplot, I guess?
She is a warrior.
I don't know.
That is her arc.
Yeah, was that like supposed to be a thing?
You know how at the start she's doing like the Zumba thing and like, you know, say it now with me, you're a warrior. And then at the end when she's like battling the dragon, she's like, I am a warrior. Tosses a sword. I
forgot that.
Oh, she doesn't toss it, she just stabs it, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, that was actually cool. I mean, I love the entire final boss fight, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I like how, again, just cool scenes with twists on them. How it's a dragon, of course. You know, the final boss of this, fantasy movie's a dragon, but how it's formed out of like the high school and how that comes back into earlier from the shot of the painted dragon on the brick wall. It's just cool little visual storytelling I like. And the moment when the dragon put a frown on his face was like cool humor as well. But yeah, no, like I mentioned earlier, Ian kind of putting all those skills together to, you know, give his brother this moment, but then also, yeah, defeat the dragon. I don't know. It was just cool. I think it was a cool kind of hero's journey, self-contained thing happening.
One quarrel I had, at the end when he loses his staff, he then picks out a splinter that he got earlier, and he uses that as his new stuff. Like, isn't like the first like reaction whenever you get a splinter just like try and pull it out immediately? I mean, like, is that not what you go to?
Isn't there a? Yeah, I watched a few. Oh, yeah, you guys watch it more recently than me, but I'm trying to think. Is there a line earlier in the movie, something referencing the splinters and the staff that like answers that? Am I wrong?
Well, yeah. Well, he's like, oh yeah, there's magic, you know, in like every part, and like that, you know, that's why they use it later on. Like, you know, whenever you get a splinter, you know, you just absentmindedly just remove it. You know.
Well, I think that's right there because there's a scene earlier in the movie where Ian has to focus and he gets a splinter from the staff, and then Barley is like, "Oh no, you can't focus on the splinter. You have to like focus on the spell." When they're trying to like enlarge the gas tank.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it wasn't a serious problem. It was just me pointing out like something stupid. I mean, it's not stupid. It's just something that, you know, I was just, you know, poking a bit of fun at the film. I was serious in my complaint there.
You're poking a bit of fun at the film.
Yeah.
Oh god.
How long was this film on your guys' radar? Because I feel like the release just kind of snuck up on me. Like, I feel like I heard about it like in fleeting moments for like a year, like never had anything solid, and then all of a sudden, you know, a week before it's out, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, he's Onward.
Yeah, well, I definitely feel like the you know, virus overshadowed, you know, the release by a large extent.
Yeah, but still, the virus was only like in its early stages when this was first released, you'd expect promotional like material a few months beforehand, but I feel like we never really got that wide release of promotional images. Like I don't remember ever seeing like a TV spot. I never got an ad, like a trailer for an ad. I don't remember seeing any character posters anywhere. I wonder if that's just maybe targeted ads for I wasn't getting them, but it just felt like this release kind of came out of nowhere. And same thing with Soul coming up. I mean, like the same thing where I'm like, oh yeah, Pharrell Williams involved, and it's called Soul, but like I know nothing else of the film. It just pops up every now and then, but I know nothing.
Yeah, I was kind of similar because I agree. As we got close to the release, I definitely didn't realize it was coming out. But before that, no, I had it on my radar. I knew, the title of the film, who was in it, and I did watch the first trailer. But then between that time and then its release, I was with you, where I did lose track of, wait, when the hell's that movie coming out?
Yeah. Don't even know if I watched the trailer, but yeah. I'm pretty sure most people that's most people's experience anyway.
Yeah. I don't know, it just shocks me because, Pixar is such a famous studio, and, their films are adored. So I would have thought there'd be, maybe there was, but I just didn't see it. I thought there'd be a much larger, like, push to advertise the film.
Should I get into the mandatory section where I just reference some of the stupid amounts of Easter eggs that are in the movie? Because I feel like I kind of have to.
Yeah, just pick out, yeah.
Let's do it. There's obviously tons of fantasy references and shit in the movie. All right, here we go. So the Burger Shire, a fast food restaurant in the film, has a sign reading now serving second breakfast, which is, of course, a reference to The Lord of the Rings and how the hobbits have second breakfast. Hip hip hooray. In Barley's van, there is a sign that says, "You shall not pass." Yeah, shocking. Here we go. Well, this is actually a good one. Look closely at the Manticore's tavern. The cook is actually Remy the rat from Ratatouille, while other members of the staff are wearing, Saucer and Mickey hats. That's kind of obvious. But there's even a Pixar ball in the background. And the prize area includes the toy frogs from Toy Story 4. So there you go. That's some cool... the Ratatouille reference is a cool one.
Yeah. You see, references like that are cool. Like, the ones that are kind of in the background. But, like, the ones where, like, they just slap you in the face with, oh, here's Lord of the Rings, here's D&D, here's Back to the Future. Like, that's another moment where I'm like, it's so obvious. And I'm like, I really didn't need this at all. Like, you couldn't have snuck something small in, but,
Oh, yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of harmless, but it's a bit of fun.
Yeah, there is, like, a lot of Easter eggs, both big and small. But, it's some of those bigger ones, like the Back to the Future one, and like some of those Lord of the Rings and D&D ones, I'm just like,
I didn't actually notice much in the movie. But, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I didn't notice the restaurant and shit either. I noticed some of them. Like the Mickey hats were kind of obvious, and yeah.
Apparently, there was a lot of Indiana Jones references as well. But that's funny. The Remy the rat was there because to me, Ian kind of looks like Linguini from Ratatouille.
Oh shit, he kind of does too.
Maybe they're part of a shared universe where they're like lost twins.
Yeah.
Hey, the Pixar theory, it's out there.
Maybe he's the dad.
Oh my god, maybe. Hey, wait, have you guys seen this Pixar theory? Because it's so bizarre.
Oh,
is it kind of like how it's like everything Stephen King makes is like related? Is it kind of similar to that?
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, except for it's weird.
It's a decent theory.
I can't even remember it off the top of my head, but like how like one of them like Wall-E's like in the past or some shit. Weird.
But isn't that kind of like disproved? I mean, I guess not. I mean, like, because like there's Easter eggs with Nemo's on this. There's a Nemo print on this dress, and there's this character appears in the background of this. Oh, I mean, I guess it kind of strengthens it, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the theory is just absolutely bizarre. I don't know how it makes any sense, but good on the people that continue trying to make it fit. And of course, one last bit of trivia, because it's a Pixar movie. The popular A113 reference is present in the film, obviously. The police call that comes near the end says A113 in progress. And in case you've been living under a rock, I'll just let you know. That was a bit harsh, actually. Sorry. I mean, normal people don't know about this shit. I'm sorry. That was a bit rude. A113 was, of course, the classroom used by John Lasseter, Tim Burton, and Brad Bird at the California Institute of Arts and appears in all Pixar films. So they love that running joke, as we know.
Does the A113 appear in Burton's films or not? It doesn't, does it?
Not to my knowledge. He just hated his time at uni. He's just like, man, I don't want to remember that class.
Yeah, because I can't recall anyone being like, oh look, in Edward Scissorhands it says A113 there. You know,
I've never seen Edward Scissorhands. Is it any good?
oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seems like a bizarre premise for a movie.
I mean, it's the guy with Scissorhands. It is pretty bizarre, mate.
I mean, I feel like I've kind of touched on everything I want to say personally. I love, like Fitzy mentioned, the pacing. Love the pacing in the movie, and I love the script overall. And I think that is generally an advantage of animated features over live action movies, is the fact that because every frame is animated with such detail, you know, it gives the filmmakers such a level of control over the story that you don't have in live action. You know, you can control every little detail of character movements and everything in the world. So, and I think the script really kind of highlights the way that the film, everything set up earlier in the movie ends up in some way having a resolution later on in the third act. There's nothing really, no plot element introduced or even throwaway lines. They all kind of come back in a cool way. So I like it.
Yeah, I did really like the brother dynamic in the movie. I feel like the soundtrack was good at times, but also like in terms of Pixar standards, it's kind of forgettable. You know.
Did the soundtrack score anything stand out to you guys at all? Because granted, it has been a few weeks since I've seen the movie, 2 weeks, but I don't really remember anything about the music at all in the movie.
Only the music when the van explodes. Like, that's the only thing that I can recall. And I watched it last night. I mean, like,
right. Well, there you go.
But yeah, it doesn't feel as musical as other Pixar films, I guess.
Yeah, it's no Incredibles, you know.
Oh no, dude, The Incredibles music, man, God.
I knew that'd get you off.
you know, yeah. Oh God, you know how to get me good. All right, well, let's reveal our score for Onward out of 10. Jane, you go first.
Yeah, I've said a fair few things I don't like about it in this duration, but I think once again that was just to balance out everything that you liked about it, and you know, I just felt like, you know, discussing a fair point. But I still did enjoy the film. I think a 7, maybe teeters on an 8, but I think it sticks down to a 7 for me personally.
Yeah, I really did enjoy it. I can't really fault it on any big way, and yeah, I think 8 out of 10 for me. It's pretty great.
Awesome. I'll give the movie a 9. I don't know if I find any element far superior than you guys found it, but by definition, this movie did emotionally impact me. To the point of tears, very very close in the third act for sure. I just admitted I cried on a podcast. Everyone abandon this show. It's all over.
Maybe
But
that can be next week's question. How often do you cry in films?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, yeah, we'll add that to the list for sure. But this movie did get me for sure, and by definition, I have to give it a 9 just for that. I think if a film is that enjoyable and solid all around, and then also manages to do that, it's something that sticks with me on some level. So I'll give it a 9. We'll get into news chat. There's not a lot this week, but I mean, we'll stick with what we have. Which isn't a lot. Jane, do you want? Let's talk about this Hans Zimmer and Alan Walker collaboration. Came out yesterday. Is it a good track, and what's it about?
So in order to celebrate 10 years since Inception, Hans Zimmer and Alan Walker went back and revisited Time, which is, I think Time is Zimmer's most popular piece anyway. So they've gone back and they've remixed that, and they've released 2 editions. They've released a short and an extended edition. And they are quality tracks. You know, you get a good bit of Zimmer, a good bit of Alan Walker, and I think it's quite a decent blend. I mean, Zimmer's tracks have been remixed before by a host of other artists as well, so it's not really new to Zimmer's music, but I think this one is a decent remix as well.
Have I heard of Alan Walker? I feel like such a dumbass.
His most popular song came out a few years ago. I think we would have been year 9. It's called Faded.
Was it like really popular?
Yeah, it was pretty popular. If you were to hear it, I reckon you'd recognise it.
Okay. I'll check it out after then. I think I would, I think. All right. Cool. I mean, hey, anything any mention of time
Yeah.
deserves a shout out on the news show, I think.
I quite enjoy it because like it has those same like massive hits that like Time does have, but amplified by the electronic element of Alan Walker brings. So yeah, it does work well.
Oh, hang on, Faded it's like an electronic song.
Yes,
I know that song. Yeah, I know it. Yeah, cool. Okay, this makes way more sense now. Cool. We got some more Mandalorian casting news this week, dude. I'm so over the Mandalorian casting news. At this point, are they saving any? And the casting news, I don't know if you saw it, Jan. I'm not even going to mention it because
Katie Sackhoff, is it?
Like what it is. Oh yeah, you saw it. There you go. So okay, Katie Sackhoff is playing Bo-Katan in which I mean I think that's really cool. I think that's awesome. The fact that we get an animated voiced character reprising her role in live action.
But you don't like that for Ahsoka?
No, because they're changing the actress.
Oh, are they? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Rosario Dawson's going to play her.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And also, Katie Sackhoff can wear a helmet.
Sure.
If she doesn't look like Bo-Katan, I think she might anyway. But if she doesn't, that's still an out. But yeah, regardless, no, I think it's cool. I just don't get, dude. Are they saving anything for the season? They're just wanting to spoil us so hard.
Maybe maybe it's showing like what they've got in the season, like whatever they have is so big that they can release all this news.
I would hope so. That's the only scenario where I would find this amount of casting news acceptable. Because at this point, they're just like spoiling all their major. Like these are reveals. Like Boba Fett being in the season is a reveal. Bo-Katan is a reveal, and they're just like, oh, we'll just announce it on Twitter. All right. But I hope you're right. I hope it is actually that cool and interesting and big that this isn't really that important in the grand scheme of things. But who knows? Lastly, there's a Scarface remake coming out. Who did you say is directing this, Jan?
I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I don't want to embarrass myself. But he directed Call Me by Your Name and the 2018 remake of Suspiria. So I trust him to make the movie.
Sure.
It's Luca Guadagnino. I'm not sure. Sorry.
Right. Okay. I've never seen Scarface. Have you guys seen it? I assume Jaden has.
No, I've only seen the 1930s one.
There's a 1930. So you're telling me the Al Pacino one's a remake in itself?
Yeah, because Scarface is based on like is based on Al Capone. It's like okay. Yeah, so that's where the story came from. I think. Oh. Let me search that up before I make it dig on myself.
No, because in the Tiger King series, they said there was a guy who was inspiration for Scarface.
Alphonse Gabriel Capone, sometimes known by the nickname Scarface. Yes, I'm right. Yeah, so Capone was the original Scarface. So they made a film about him, like 30s, 40s. I can't remember.
Wait, but do you remember that, Zach?
In Tiger King, what did they reference?
There was a guy that was featured in Tiger King, and they said he was the original inspiration for Scarface.
Do you mean a guy that was actually in the was a cast member in Tiger King?
Yeah, they interviewed him in like the second episode or something.
But Fitzy, what do you not understand that Capone is Scarface?
Hey, let's just assume that guy's full of shit on Tiger King. But wait, so neither of you have seen Scarface, Fitzy?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay, cool. Okay. Well, I haven't either.
So the 1980s one is based on the 1932 film of the same name.
Okay.
There was a game based on... Wasn't there like a PS3 game of Scarface as well?
Yeah, I think so. That rings a bell.
I don't know.
Can we get a remake of that?
Yeah. Oh, well, speaking about video game remakes, I don't know if you want to go into this, but Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Bloody hell yes.
Exactly. That was cool. Yeah. Good for them, dude. Good for them. Especially after Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. Everyone loved that game. 32 on Metacritic. Well, look at us just delving into new areas on this podcast anyway. What have we been watching recently? Fitzy, do you wanna let us know? Enlighten us?
At Eternity's Gate, which is a biography kind of movie about Vincent Van Gogh, stars Willem Dafoe, and it was good. It's a movie I wouldn't like recommend to everyone because it's a very different kind of movie. Like the camera is always like moving around all over the place, and it's kind of like the effect, the supposed effect is you're trying to get into his head, the kind of the the turmoil of his head, and you're learning about his life and how he puts his suffering into his art, and how he just loves beauty and nature and stuff. And but yeah, it was good.
Do you reckon had he not killed himself, his art would be as celebrated as it is today?
Yeah, for sure.
You reckon?
I mean, what do you think he became popular because he killed himself? Well, it's still
I don't know. I mean,
in the movie. I won't spoil it. Well, it's contested if he did kill himself anyway, but
I don't know. I just feel like I mean, because like it's notorious at the time that his art was regarded very lowly. I mean, like he had to trade it away for food and shit at times, and like I just can't imagine it reaching any higher status had it not had this tragic story behind it.
Well, like I don't know, like in the movie, yeah, it explores how like his art wasn't popular at the time, but yeah, I feel like we're talking about Vince Vega. Like I think at the time his art didn't fit into the popular aesthetics of the day, like the what do you call it, the impressionist art and stuff, and or post impressionist, I guess. But
Right, so we've covered music, games, and art so far in this podcast.
Nice. What's next?
Books.
We're gonna talk about books. Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
What are you reading at the moment, Vinny?
I'm reading I Am Pilgrim at the moment. No shit. It's this crime thriller. It's like 1,100 pages. It scares me just like opening it, but it's really good. That's what I'm reading. I'm so sorry. But to continue, what have you been watching?
And I also saw another movie last night.
Do I have to do a drum roll or
Solo?
Oh, yeah, you can talk about it if you want.
And it was okay.
Good discussion.
Wow, nice.
What about you guys?
I also had a bit of a slow week. I mean, 4 films, it's alright. I watched The Last House on the Left, which was Wes Craven's directorial debut. Wes Craven, of course, became famous for Nightmare on Elm Street and the Scream franchise. Last House on the Left really wasn't that good. I mean, it was originally written to be pornographic, and then Wes Craven decided to change it at the last minute to just make it, a kind of exploitation-esque film. That wasn't really that great. I watched Compliance, which is really good. That was based off a real-life case of, like, in 2000 and something, I can't recall, a scammer called up McDonald's, like, restaurants across the US, and he got the managers to pretty much assault, like, workers. And, like, it's, like, the way it unfolds, it's really anger-inducing, and, like, the fact that none of these adults, these supposedly responsible people, they never said no in such a, like, heinous situation. And, like, as the acts become more depraved, the fact that it just keeps on going, it's really crazy, Yeah. So that was pretty good.
I think I remember seeing that.
I then watched the Poughkeepsie tapes, kind of like a, I don't know, found footage horror, I guess, but with a much tighter story because it's based on like a fictional case, but it's presented as real, and they use like the found tapes as a device to tell the story. That was pretty trash as well. That was another case of like where the acts throughout the film kind of become more and more depraved and disgusting, and it does become a bit intimidating to watch. But there's a point where you have to like say, there's a point where like violence for violence sake on screen just becomes shit.
Sure.
And then last night I watched the 5th Pirates of the Caribbean film, Dead Men Tell No Tales, which was also rather poor. I mean, it's Pirates of the Caribbean, so I'm always happy to just sit there and watch. But it really was the weakest of the series.
Sure. I get in moods sometimes where there are these big Hollywood franchises where they apparently get real bad. I'm just totally down to watch them all, Just go along for the ride.
Yeah, I'd still watch it just for sake of watching the film, like just before completing the series. And apparently there's a 6th one coming out as well now. So, I mean, I don't know. If the first 3 or 4, if the first 4 are up your alley, I'd definitely go for number 5 just for pirates.
I watched what did I watch? I finished Afterlife on Netflix, dude. Ricky Gervais, man, what a guy, what a show, so good. The second season, which was just released, and the show's just it's got his ability to balance just the most depressing shit ever and the most hilarious shit ever, seconds apart, is like unparalleled. It's perfect. Yeah, I don't know how he does it. That kind of comedic level of writing and direction. And because he writes and directs all the episodes, and there's 6 episodes that are only half an hour long, so it's super easy to get through. Yeah, no, that show's awesome. I started Devs. I watched the first episode. I don't know how quickly I'll get through it. It might honestly be an episode a week. I won't bore you every single week with just one more episode. But for the premiere, dude, this show, man, there's some shit going down here. There's some sinister stuff afoot in this program.
Oh, is that Alec Garland's show?
Yes, it is. Yes, yeah. And I haven't been a huge fan of his work. I think I've only hang on, I say that, but I think I've only seen Annihilation. What is he? He's done Annihilation, Ex Machina. Is there anything else?
He just written something else. So he wrote 28 Days Later and Never Will Let Me Go and Sunshine. But in terms of directing, Ex Machina and Annihilation.
Gotcha. And so this show, Devs, is entirely written and entirely directed, the entire thing by him. So you're basically getting a super long film from him, I guess. Yeah, the first episode was crazy. There's some cool shit going on. I'm interested to find out what it's all about, what's happening, for sure.
How long is that? Sorry, just out of. Is it the 10 episodes or is
it? It's 8 episodes, an hour long. Yeah. I also watched. I've been watching Black Sails in my, relaxing time when I just want to pop a show on. I'm into it, man. I've heard good things about it over the years, so I wanted to check it out. I'm almost through season 1, and I'm liking it.
What's that?
Cool pirate show. It's this Starz original series, which is like this, I don't know, kind of, I guess it's kind of a smaller network in the US. I don't really know. But it's really good production values. This pirate show set, I guess, in like the 1700s or some shit. So it's kind of like aesthetically, I guess there's not a lot of pirate content out there these days. So it kind of aesthetically, obviously, reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean, except definitely R-rated for sure. Michael Bay executive producing the show, so he's bringing. I don't know how involved he is, but there's a lot of kind of. It feels like a big deal, I guess.
I heard it described as like it does to Pirates of the Caribbean what Game of Thrones does to Lord of the Rings.
That's a great comparison, actually. Yeah, it really feels like that. No, but I'm into it so far. I've heard really positive things about the entire thing because it finished years ago. There's only 4 seasons. So the fact that it's not airing anymore, and it's a complete story, and people really love it, so that's cool. It's good knowing that. That's all I've got. So let's get into our listener submitted answers from last week's question. Last week's question was, "What is your favorite bad movie?" Now, if there's any confusion regarding the question, what's a movie that you recognise is bad but you like? It's as simple as that. Henry wrote into us and said, Spy Kids 2 is an underappreciated masterpiece. Preach. Who could forget Steve Buscemi's line, "Do you think that God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he has created?" Wow, some really deep shit there from Spy Kids 2.
It's such a, have you seen the, image that goes around? It's just got, a list of, really, really cool quotes that come from random sources. There's one, so, that one's, appears on it, and there's other ones, "You kneel before my throne unaware it's built on lies," and that just comes from some random text posts, and there's other ones that come from Super Mario fan fiction and stuff like that, and it's crazy what some people come up with, and then but they're just forced into weird places.
That's really funny. Hey, I feel like I've definitely seen Spy Kids 2. I don't know if I could in my brain separate it from the first one. I don't know what's different about it.
Number 2 takes place on the island. If that helps.
I think it's the one Spy Kids movie I haven't seen. I've seen all the other ones, but yeah.
Spy Kids 3 is the one where in the video game, isn't it?
Yeah, Game Over, and then Spy Kids 4 is All the Time in the World. Spy Kids,
but they recast for Spy Kids 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first Spy Kids are at that castle island place with the guy who makes the weird creatures.
We're getting into
Yeah,
the
I'm talking
Spy
about-
Kids lore. I love it.
He makes these things that appear on the TV shows. It's really creepy because they're like ex-spies and stuff.
Holy
Oh, maybe
crap,
I'm getting
dude.
my thing mixed around.
And then number 2 is on the island with, I haven't seen it, but it's on the island with Buscemi, and he creates something. I don't know, but yeah. Number 3 is the game one where they gotta find their infinite lives,
That's
dude,
right.
and it's like Elijah Wood at the end.
Is number 4 the one with Orlando Bloom as the villain?
Orlando Bloom. No.
Oh no,
It's,
Antonio Banderas is it?
No, number 4 is the villain is like, isn't it like one of them from the future or something? Because it's all about time travel.
Oh, okay,
And
I can't recall.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure at the end they figure out that like the villain is like, you know, someone they know, but like because they like sped up time and shit. Because the guy, it's like he wanted to go back to his granddad or something. I don't know.
We'll discuss this when we review it on the podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm stoked to do Spy Kids, man.
Fuckins is great.
Oh my god.
It's underrated, man. I gotta see number 2.
This is
Exactly.
digging so many memories up from deep within my soul, like when I was like 6 years old, right there with, right next to Shark Boy and Lava Girl,
Oh, dude. That was like Taylor Lautner's like first acting role, is that right? Or like his first like big acting role?
I think so.
Yeah. Dude, I used to froth that film so hard.
I don't know how many times I saw that movie again.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Did you guys ever see
those were the days.
Robots?
Oh, I watched that movie a ton, but I don't remember anything about it anymore.
Yeah, I feel like Robots and Meet the Robinsons for some reason like kind of blended together for me.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
weird.
I think they're made by the same studio, aren't they? Blue Sky.
Oh, maybe. In Robots, all I remember about it is that they try and go to a party and he's not let in or something, and then there's also a boardroom. That's all I remember about it.
Do you remember the big domino dude and the guy? The domino man, the big kind of fat guy with the big round guy. Then you got the big skinny silver guy. Ronnie Copperbottom.
That's the main character, isn't it?
Need, villain need. Yeah.
When you say the domino guy, I don't know who you're talking about, but I do remember something to do with dominoes happens in the movie. Like, did dominoes fall over?
Yeah. He's like, this guy's got this whole domino mansion. And he like rides around on the dominoes, he like surfs on them.
Oh, that's right. And it's his like introduction scene or whatever.
Yeah, and he's Ronnie Copperbottom's like idol, like mentor. And then he goes to meet him and he's like, shit person. Well, he's like not what he expected, and then he wants to bring him back to defeat the tall silver guy who runs the company.
Isn't Rodney Copperbottom? Isn't he Ewan McGregor?
Yeah, and his friend the red guy is what's that guy who played Aladdin? The genie in Aladdin, Robin Williams, I think.
Oh, it is too. Jesus. Oh my god.
Freaking robots, man.
I hope Robots isn't your answer for this question, Fitzy, because I don't want to talk about it anymore. The pub grub pig wrote into us and said, worst movie ever is Alexander 2004, complete garbage. I mean, sorry pig if I may call you that, but I don't really know if that was the question. But thanks for writing it anyway. I haven't seen Alexander. Have you guys? I don't know what this movie is.
I think it stars Colin Farrell as Alexander. Farrell's the younger one. Wait, Colin Firth and Colin Farrell. Which one's Firth's old? Farrell's young, right?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So I think Farrell's Alexander, and I think Rosario Dawson might also be in it, if I'm right.
Oh God.
I think isn't it like 3.5 hours long?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
I think it was meant to be like a modern day epic. Well, not a modern day epic, but like, an epic created in the modern day.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It also features Anthony Hopkins.
Does it?
Yeah. On the watch list now.
Anthony Hopkins popping up in Alexander and Transformers: The Last Night.
Oh, you spoiled my reveal.
Oh shit! You go right now then. What's your answer?
My answer is the Transformers series as an entirety. Actually, I guess some of them are considered decent, but the fourth and fifth one are definitely not considered to be good at all. But this is something I've discussed extensively with you guys. But, I just love the series as a whole, and I always will. I recognize that they're poor and they're outlandish and, cringy maybe, and the script's not that great, but I just love sitting there and just, soaking up robot fights for 2.5 hours.
Awesome.
Wish I could relate.
I don't know. There's just some charm about it. I don't know.
Grace us with your answer, Fitzy.
I don't know if this movie is considered that bad, but I really used to like it, and I think if I watched it today, I'd still enjoy it to a large extent. It's X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, is this a bad movie, guys? I don't know.
It's considered bad. I haven't seen it since I was a very young lad, so.
Okay. But I mean, it's just great because you've got all these superhero characters. You've got Wolverine. You've got his brother. Like, you learn about his brother. What other movie do you learn about Wolverine's brother? There's no other movie like that.
You're right, jeez.
You got.
He appears in the other 3 original X-Men though, doesn't he?
Yeah, but this is Wolverine. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
It's Origins, Jaden. Come on.
Yeah,
sorry. Yes.
They go into his dad and the war and stuff, and that's all cool. But then you've got the cool magician guy. You've got Cyclops, and you've got Deadpool who they fight at the end, and it's pretty cool. And he's got his mouth sewed up or some shit. That was really scary as a kid, as a young lad. So it's just an amazing, underrated movie, and I think it's definitely going to age well in the future with time.
My experience with that movie is I remember we used to get DVDs. We rented them and they got sent to us in the mail, and then we'd send them back. And we got X-Men Origins Wolverine sent to us, and I watched it. I remember one day, and then I liked it so much I watched it again the next day. I watched it twice in 48 hours, 24 hours, I guess, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of good action scenes and shit. You got Deadpool in there, and he's slicing all the bullets and stuff, and he's got a blue uniform, which is cool. It's just so cool, man.
This is really good outrage marketing to get all the Marvel nerds to our podcast and just complain in the comments.
Exactly.
Oh, I feel like they'd be preaching this. They'd love this.
They hate X-Men. Oh, sorry. We're not shitting on it though. 50's talking about how good it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. No irony? No irony? Question mark?
Oh. No, well, okay. No, I mean, I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I mean, I actually really, I still do believe all those things. And, I mean, I'm sure if I watched it today, I'd see all the problems and stuff, but I don't know, it just seems like such a great masterpiece of action and, character. And, it's just everything, really. I mean,
the opening montage is where they're showing him and his brother throughout all the wars in history, right?
The Civil War, yeah, and then you got you got Wolverine with the cool bones coming out of his hands, and it's way grittier than the metal, and then he gets created into the Wolverine with metal in his arms, and you got the scientist doctor, dude. That's such a good movie,
guys. When are we doing this movie, man? Let's do it.
When we do this,
it's on Disney Plus. There you go. Holy
shit, it is.
I
just want to acknowledge that you said, Fitzy, you said this movie, it's everything. Put it on the box. My choice is Wolf Creek 2, okay? Have you guys seen Wolf Creek 2?
No, I've only seen the first one.
You've seen the first one, okay, that helps a little bit. Yeah, so Jen, would you say the first Wolf Creek is a semi-entertaining it's kind of a lackluster thriller, horror movie, but it's it's an
iconic in terms of Australian cinema, it is iconic in
Yeah, oh no, for sure it's iconic, but I don't know if it's good.
I think it is regarded as good. I mean, good enough to get a sequel.
Oh sure, yeah. I don't think the movie's bad, but it's just it's kind of it's kind of weird and generic. Dude, what's his name? Bloody the main dude, actor's name? What's his name? Jarrett something?
It's John Jarrett, apparently.
You got it, thank you. Yes, John Jarrett. Yeah, that's his name. Dude, he's creepy as hell in the movies, and he's really cool. He's easily the best part of the movies. He's awesome. But anyway, sorry, Wolf Creek 2, though, okay? This movie is genuinely terrible. but I just had a blast watching it. You've got everything that makes the first Wolf Creek kind of entertaining. You know, you've got the kind of over the top violence. You've got John Jarrett doing his thing, doing his crazy over the top psychopath performance. It's great. He's like an outback Australian who loves like basically chopping people's arms off. I'm all about that. So you've got those entertaining elements. But at the same time, you've got CGI kangaroos that get run over by a truck, which, I mean, me just saying that, like, it really probably doesn't do much for anyone. This scene in the movie, it was something, okay? Because what's happening, all right? John Jarrett's trying to hunt down this British backpacker guy. He's trying to kill him, basically. That's literally the entire movie. And you know, he comes close a few times and all this shit. And there's one scene where the backpacker guy, I think it's like a car chase or some shit. John Jarrett's in this huge truck and the British dude's driving, you know, away from John Jarrett. And for no reason, a bunch, probably 4 CGI, the terrible CG, by the way, you know, Australian CG, awful CG, kangaroos just run onto the road and John Jarrett just mows them down and blood just goes everywhere and he just laughs. He thinks it's hilarious. That scene definitely didn't have to be in the movie, but I loved it. Yeah, Wolf Creek 2, what a movie.
Well, Zach, what I'm about to tell you might make you shit yourself, but Wolf Creek 3 is predicted for 2022.
Are you shitting me? Because I know there's a TV show. I haven't seen that.
No, it says Wolf Creek 3 filming at the moment, 2022 release.
Dude, I'm in. I want to see those CG kangaroos and their children, okay? All right, well, there you go. We talked about some fun movies this week. We somehow managed to talk about a lot of other movies way more than Onward, but that's fine. Whatever floats our boat. Thanks for tuning into Cinema Effect this week. We appreciate your time. Fitzy, what the hell are we watching next week?
I'm watching Goodfellas next week.
Oh, yeah, hell
which,
yeah.
You know, is a pretty big movie in the history of cinema.
On the planet Earth.
On the planet of Earth. And excited for that. It's on I think it's on Foxtel, and if you don't have that, you can just get it on YouTube or Google Play in Australia. So none of you guys have seen Goodfellas?
No.
No.
I've seen the opening scene, I think, because we watched it in class one day, but that's it.
Yeah.
Actually, am I allowed to say we watched it in class? I don't want the school to get in trouble for showing an R18 film to 17-year-olds.
I never think about like movie ratings these days. As
You
in,
don't
like,
need to worry about them anymore.
Yeah, I guess so. There's like age ratings, but what do you guys ever like think about that? I guess
I have to, because whenever I go to the cinemas, I always get ID'd because I look like I'm 12.
You don't look. I look way younger than you, though, dude.
Do you? Because like one time, legit one time, I went to the cinemas and I got asked for ID 3 times.
I reckon
That is so
I don't
funny.
know.
I feel like that's a coincidence, though.
I mean, I look pretty young as well. The only movie I've been ID'd for was Joker, which was a weird experience.
They thought you were an incel. They needed to get your details.
Yeah. The trials and tribulations of being grown up but looking like a toddy.
Yeah, like the thing is, like even when I go with mates, like they won't get questioned because they look old enough. But like, you know, the people see me standing with them, but they'll still ask me. Like,
is that your younger brother?
Yeah, Mum made us bring him along.
Thanks everyone for tuning in again. Jay and Liam, thanks for joining me on this interesting episode.
Cheers.
Thanks.
We'll see you all next week. Have a great rest of your week and goodbye.